Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's Transformation Talk. I'm here today with Mynde Mayfield, who is a coach whose life recently took a hard left turn with the diagnosis of stage 4 breast cancer. And I'm really, really glad you're here for so many reasons. and I'm really thrilled to talk with you today. Thanks for being here, Mynde.
Thank you for having me, Alana. I'm excited to share whatever you want to ask me.
Yeah. Well, and just by way of introduction, too, I want to say that for those of you watching, Mynde was my coach when Benjamin was stillborn. And the day, so he died on a Thursday, that Wednesday, the day before, you and I had a conversation. And I don't remember at this point, because it's been almost 3 years, exactly what the conversation was about. But I do know that that conversation allowed me to get through that night in the hospital by myself and let my son go in a way that I don't think I would have been able to do.
Thank you.
So,
I mean, I'm so honored to have been a part of your process, Alana, and that what we were able to share together supported you in whatever way and continues to. I mean, that's really why we become coaches, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, aside from all of that, the work we did together still lives with me every day. So just wanted to acknowledge that really publicly.
Thank you. Yeah, it was my privilege and honor, really.
Thank you. Okay, wow, I don't usually cry in the first, minute of my interviews.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's totally okay. All right, so I want to talk about you and your story. So you were coaching.
Yeah.
Life was going really well. You had some big plans to, go live on a sailboat, and what happened?
Well, I found a lump myself, and then I got really freaked out, and I took a lot of time to do the self-care that's required, I think, when something like this happens, so that's what happened. I waited, and then as we were about to basically make that break and jump on board, I knew that I needed to get this issue taken care of. I knew that I didn't want it lingering over my head while we were out, sailing the 7 seas, or just one sea. Yeah. So that's what happened.
And you went in, and was it a really quick diagnosis? Was it a longer process? How did it work for you?
Well, it kind of happened. Diagnosis happens kind of in 2 stages. I mean, when you find out you're told that you have cancer, that's really just the very beginning of the diagnosis process. At least for my experience, from the moment I was diagnosed and told I had cancer, it took about 8 weeks before treatment began for me, and that was because my healthcare team and the treatment center did this exhaustive sort of check, for everything, to just make sure so that they could get a fuller picture of what would be the best way to treat my particular type of cancer. So there were some small steps between I have a lump and hearing you have cancer, and they're all very common, ranging from ultrasounds and biopsies and that kind of thing. And then once I did get into St. Joe's, or selected St. Joe's, St. Joseph's in Orange, PET scans and lots of other things that they did to just, they wanted to understand exactly how advanced the disease was and give me, the best possible chance, for survival. Ta-da!
Yeah. So, okay. So one thing that I know about you is how positive you are, and, but long before this, you were writing about being optimistical and just really positive. So what happened within you during this process after the diagnosis? How did that internal, oh my God, I have cancer and I'm this optimistic law of attraction believing person.
Right. Well, there were some things that I got to deal with, some sort of issues. You know, one of the first things was, well, I get to walk my talk, you know, like, and how many of us have heard and said that, you know? So the other thing that I quickly realized and had sort of an intuitive knowing about was how prepared I was. Life had prepared me for this moment on so many levels, you know. Clearly, I was this optimistic, you know, lighthearted, always looking for the positive in anything that sort of happened to me. And I was like, which came about from earlier events in my life and just sort of understanding that, you know, there's two ways to be. You know, you could be happy or you could be miserable. So make a choice, right? So I had embraced that for you know, probably 25 years of my life. The other issue, one of the other issues that popped up that wasn't as fun was because I am a big believer in the law of attraction, is what the F did I do to me? You know, like to bring this to me. And very shortly, you know, with, you know, dealing with that idea, again, the same tools and skills that I've learned and have benefited me via the law of attraction. Basically, Esther popped into my head and she's like, you know, a thought you're thinking, when you think it, if it makes you feel bad, it's not the truth. It's not what source believes about you. So when I thought I did something to myself to attract this, I was like, that feels gross. And that can't be true. That can't be the truth. This must be just part of my personal life script, if you will. And all right, so let's jump in, you know, let's do this, you know. So there was a lot of soothing, you know, the feeling will arise and you look at it and then you figure out a way to soothe yourself. And I didn't do it all on my own, you know, because when anxiety rises up to your eyeballs, you can't see, you can't think or see or feel. So that's where having a support system in place and being surrounded by other really amazing women and coaches and people who believe the way I believe and think the way I think and supported me tremendously. Yeah.
And you really sought that support out too. I mean, I have to say, you were really clear about wanting it and needing it, and you created it for yourself in a really amazing way to watch.
Yeah, you know, and Alana, you became immediately one of those people that came into that inner circle. I checked out what was available in my universe in terms of support, and it scared the bejesus out of me, you know. It wasn't the support that I needed. Not that it isn't the support other people need, but it wasn't the support that I was hungry for and I needed. And so I basically decided I would create my own private group on Facebook for a couple of reasons. One, so I didn't have to repeat telling the story over and over, and inform, you know, people who cared about me with one message instead of 45 or whatever, right? And then the other was to hand select those individuals that I knew would support me in those moments where the road got rocky and it got scarier. So, and you know, you were a part of that from the beginning, especially with what you'd been through in your own life and dealing with deep, dark, you know, what we perceive as dark, you know, the things that make us feel very vulnerable and scared. So I needed people who had been down the road too in their own shape and form. So yeah.
It was really beautiful to be a part of that group and to witness you being vulnerable and being scared, and also still maintaining this incredible, like, okay, I'm in it, and this is going to be okay, whatever happens, and you know, just really taking care of yourself.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Thank you. And thank you deeply. And at the time you're just in it and you're just moving through it, you know? So, but I get a lot of feedback, particularly from the women that have been a part of my group, and then just regular life too, like in terms of what I shared on my blog at different moments during the journey. So, and it is there. I mean, I didn't keep up with blogging in the way that the rules say you should. I wrote when I felt like I needed to. I announced it to the world in the way and the style that I felt would support my healing, and just trusted and followed the road, followed the yellow brick road.
Yeah, through Cancerville.
There we go. Yes, yeah, full of wonder and love.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And so you did end up with a stage 4 diagnosis. You had a double mastectomy. Yep. What was it like to make that decision?
Well, I knew that I was going to lose one breast, and then I was teetering. I didn't really know, what I should do with the right breast. And then in that process of you have cancer to they actually beginning treatment, that longer 6 to 8 week period where they're running all the scans, they found some calcification in the right side, and my doctor said, it's nothing. It's probably nothing, but we've got to check it off the list, Mindy. This is just how wonderful they were. They were checking everything. So we biopsied the right side, and surprisingly, it came back as stage 0 breast cancer. So, I can still remember my breast surgeon, Dr. J. Harness, saying, well, kiddo, it's cancer on the right side too. And I said, okay, now I know what I'm going to do. Really using one of the rudders that I used through this journey was my own awareness of resistance, and really getting clear on what resistance is, what it looks like, what it feels like. So it may sound Pollyanna or whatever when I say, okay, when they tell you it's right, but going, oh my God, that creates this feeling of resistance inside my body that for me doesn't help me align with the feelings of being well and being healed and whole. Saying yes to life and trusting it, and trusting the unfoldment, and trusting the capable hands I was in, and the tremendous amount of love that had appeared and surrounded me, that's healing and wholeness to me. So I said, thank you, God. I know what I'm going to do now. We're taking them both. And that's kind of how the decision was sort of made for me.
Made for you.
So, yeah. And I'm really grateful for that, because I feel like if St. Joe's hadn't checked that right side, I may have gotten 5 years down the road and been going through the same journey all over again now, chemo again and radiation again. So I just feel I'm actually very grateful that we got it all in one fell swoop, so to speak. So, yeah. Found gratitude in my bilateral mastectomy.
Yeah. And you just got your NED, right?
I did. I had a scan in December, and it, the feedback I heard was barely detectable. And so late last month, it's April already, I just kind of poked and said, when do I get to be NED, which stands for no evidence of disease? And the nurse practitioner said, I think you're there. I think that you're really there. So, I'll be scanned every 6 months or so, and they'll keep an eye on things. And, so we just, hope, just you continue to hope for the best. And I feel like I can't say for sure that, it's my 12 principles for living well for cancer that healed me, but I'm grateful that I had them. I'm grateful I had the tools and skills that I did, and that I practiced them, and I'm grateful for this tremendous crash course in life that really helped to reprioritize and help me refocus on the things that really matter in my life. So,
yeah. Okay, so you've mentioned the 12 Principles of Cancer, and I've heard you had a blog cast where you talked about this, but tell us a little bit more about what's happening with the 12 Principles.
Well, I I was, again, because I'm surrounded with wonderful women like you, Alana, and that are coaches and healers themselves, and really on a mission to ease suffering in the world, similar to what I'm doing. If that's right English, I don't know. I had a conversation one day with a good friend and coach, and she was like, just sort of poking and like, Mynde, where's your program? Where's your thing? Where's your, and so she, on the phone, we rapped a little bit, and we probably came up with about 6 different principles that were really just based on me examining what I did to help myself survive. What were the specific strategies I used to help myself survive? And more than survive, I mean, to thrive in the middle of having cancer, and which is what I sometimes feel like I did. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, like, when we shaved my head, and looking at myself and feeling afraid, because it's so hard to lose your hair as a woman, but being able to see my radiance and beauty, even with a bald head. And it was just amazing. It was just an amazing experience. And to be able to stand for other women who feel a lot of shame and feel a lot of responsibility when this diagnosis comes down. I wanted to show them that you can still be beautiful and radiant and have purpose and meaning in your life, and that there's a lot to be joyful and grateful and appreciative about, even in the midst of something as scary and horrible as cancer. So the 12 principles came about just, merely as, by me scanning the last 10, 11 months of my life and putting some, concentrated focus and effort on kind of, if I were to boil them down into some basic principles for living, what would they look and sound like? And that's where 12 Principles for Living Well with Cancer came from. So
okay, and you're offering this as an individual coaching.
Yeah, I am taking my direction from life. Just cancer really, really showed me how powerful we can be if we feel good first. If we make feeling good our prerogative. And, the action, the doing, believe me, there's still the impulses there that are like, oh, I should be launching this, but, I'm throwing all the rules out and living life, for me and according to the rules that make my heart happy. So, I'm coaching one-on-one. I'm working with St. Joseph's right now to get something into a group setting. They're getting ready to launch their own cancer rehabilitation center. So I told my surgeon last week, he said, Mynde, where do you see yourself in a year? And I said, I see myself working full-time for the rehab center, being a certified life coach that's a breast cancer survivor that's on staff, that's leading weekend retreats, that's doing group coaching, that's doing one-on-one, that's doing train the trainer, you name it. Like, I really believe that there's a different way to experience this diagnosis and experience the journey. And I'm really committed to, if it feels right for another woman, to provide that support to her.
I just got full body goosebumps. That's amazing. Yeah. And I love that you're still really in that place of, okay, if it feels good, whatever feels good, do it that way. Because I think that it's so easy to get wrapped up in, to sort of backpedal into, oh, but this is what I'm supposed to be doing if I want to be successful.
So true. It's so true. And, life has taught me a lot about stopping the action, stopping the doing. Wellness was about taking a lot of time out for myself, through chemo and through convalescing, through my recovery, through surgery. I couldn't do anything but be relaxed and really take care of my mental body while my physical body, recuperated. So I have a great lesson and a great journey to reflect on and help to remind me in those moments where I look at what other people are doing and compare myself and go, oh, I should be launching a big program. I should be, and it's like, no, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. I'm going to trust that the magic that's present in the universe for all of us, and that has definitely been a part of my healing journey, is going to be present for me and with me in this next step of presenting and getting these principles out to women who need it.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. And you also, wow, I'm blanking on the words all of a sudden. You just started working with Reiki, and you got your Reiki attunements as well. First and second, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. I have been working with healers my whole life. It's crazy. And in fact, when I was doing a lot of the web presencing, a big portion of the women who I served were healers themselves. So, it was easy for me when this diagnosis came down to get in touch with certain people and be like, this is what's happening, and then additional healers. So I got on the list of a lot of people and received a lot of different types of healings. And Reiki was one of the big ones. And, I just sort of felt called at the beginning of the year. One of the women that I work with, Anne Reith, she's a teacher and a master Reiki healer, and offers classes. And I just felt like, called that it was time for me to really, and I've been told by these healers that I'm a healer. And I was just like, okay, well, I've had no near-death experience. I don't, all the preconceived notions that we have about healing and what healers look like, I didn't feel like I embodied any of that. And then, what another healer told me was that it's people's experience of you, Mynde, that's very healing for them. And I was like, okay, that makes sense to me. But I just thought I would take it another step further and really sort of make my statement to the universe be clear and be known that I was ready. I'm ready, and I'm ready to stand more fully in that. And so I offer Reiki healing to anybody who's in the process of their cancer journey, for free. I just kind of feel like when you're in the middle of this, you need all the help you can get. That's what I did. I rallied all the help. And I complemented my Western protocol with just, yoga, meditation, acupuncture, Chinese herbs, Reiki healing, crystal energy, flower essences, essential oils, juicing, smoothing, anything that I really felt like would be a component to my wellness, I incorporated into my life. So yeah, I got my Reiki certifications, and Reiki level 2 means that I can send Reiki over a distance, which I feel like is really beneficial for a lot of cancer patients who may not be able to get to me. And also because you can send Reiki into the future or even into the past. So for my upcoming procedure later this month, I send Reiki to that daily, and, issues that are concerned with maybe how this cancer came about, I send Reiki to the past for that, and so yeah, I really believe in it. One of the biggest benefits to Reiki is after surgery, it really cuts back on the effects of anesthesia. And I had 5 hour, my bilateral mastectomy was 5 hours long, and I woke up and I was thirsty and hungry, and that was it. That was it, and I really attribute that to the Reiki prayer list I was on, and sending that Reiki energy to myself and receiving it from others. So I really believe in it.
Yeah, me too. So I have a question for you, and I don't know how it's going to work for you, but I'm going to ask it. I recently saw Anita Moorjani talk, and so for those who don't know her, she wrote a book called Dying to Be Me after her near-death experience. from dying from cancer.
Yeah.
So in her talk, she specifically said, I don't support cancer awareness. I don't support anything that's specific to disease. I really believe that we need to focus on wellness, general wellness. So I know enough about you to know that that is very in line with your thinking as well. So how are you working, how are you, like, inside of you, working specifically with cancer and working with wellness? Like, how does that work in your head or your heart or however?
Yeah, well, I mean, it really kind of goes back to my four kind of cornerstone principles for 12 principles for living well with cancer. And the way it looked and sounded like for me was right away from the get-go, when I got the diagnosis, I had the awareness that I did not want to live the world's version of cancer. It was scary. And I knew immediately I wanted to create a different story about it and live my own story. And because of my training and my background with law of attraction and all this, Benjamin Zander has a really wonderful piece that he talks about how he gives each of his students in their first week an A. And he has them write about who they've become in that first week after receiving the A. And he's getting them to tell their story of, so visioning, Abraham talks about feeling first and aligning with a vibration before you do any work, before you do any physical work. So I really, really got this to the core of my being, that how important it was to tell a new story. The other thing that was really just intuitive to me was to make peace with the cancer. A lot of the mentality out there is to beat it up, to go to war, to fight like a girl, to F cancer, and war has never worked. I have never seen it work. I mean, we live in a world today where we see the evidence of how war doesn't do anything. And so I knew instinctively or intuitively that to make peace was more in step with another principle, which was about making a choice to align with my wellness as opposed to aligning with the illness. So, and everything fell sort of under that umbrella of aligning with wellness. When I received chemo for the first time, the story I told about chemo was that it was, my inner troops, if you will, borrows a little bit of the war story, but I kind of felt like in a friendly way, but they were marching into my inner kingdom to retake my castle, and they were going to rally up and find the cancer cells and support the cancer to align with wellness. And if the cancer didn't get that, or was confused about it, or didn't understand, or just was straight up resistant, then they would be escorted friendly, lovingly and compassionately out of my kingdom, So it was never really about kill it. And, I named my tumor teacher because I wanted to, be present and really understand what the message and what the meaning of this diagnosis was bringing into my life. And so making friends, making peace with it, and doing something as radical as naming your tumor teacher, aligning with wellness, making peace, telling a different story. And we already mentioned earlier at the top of the segment about creating or cultivating your unique support system. If you're not getting the support you need, then you keep looking. There are other people who will be in alignment or resonation with you, and create it yourself, which is essentially what I did, and was very specific about the people I would let into that group and the people that I didn't want in the group, I read Anita's book very early on, and she really landed for me the magnificence piece, which is one of my principles, embodying trust and magnificence on your way, on your journey. So really, really excellent read. And I really, really love Anita's story and her presence and just, her message as well. So really great book.
Thank you for talking about that, because I think, we live in such a crazy world right now and a crazy time. And I just love talking to people who are forging a new path, and I feel like there are people doing it and you're one of them for sure.
I hope so. I keep hoping, and we'll see. We'll see where it all takes me. For now, I'm just really grateful, like I said, that I had the tools and I knew how to practice them, and I had the support around me to help me practice them. I really think it's a big part of my healing. Yeah. What's happened with me. So.
Yeah, and clearly, you have a procedure coming up. You're still in it. You're still on the, you're still walking the walk.
Yeah, and I get to remind myself of that because I get so excited, and I do want to kind of rush down the path of where's this all going, and then I just remember, to take a deep breath, and there's so much good right here in this moment, and not wait, not waste that. I think that's what happens. We get sidetracked and we forget how much good is available to us right here in this moment. Mm-hmm. So sit back in that a little, and bask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking the time to do that. Okay, I'm going to ask you my final 3 questions.
Okay.
The first is, if you could wave a magic wand and change anything about the world, what would you change?
Wow, good question. I don't know if I would change anything, which might sound, but I really believe that we all chose to come here for this experience on earth, and that, borrowing from one of my teachers, Abraham, there's a perfect balance of contrast available here. And so I don't want to change that. I don't want to change that. I want to continue to grow into my gratitude for contrast. That's a big lesson. That's where I get to do a lot of work, not a lot, but, every day, when that contrast does appear, I get to remind myself, this is perfect for me. This is helping me to define more clearly what it is exactly that I want. So I'm not sure. I don't know if that's a cop-out or, but I don't know if I would change anything.
Yeah. No, I love that. Nobody has said that. I think that's a beautiful answer.
Yeah. I trust it's perfect. Yeah. I do. I trust it's perfect.
All right. What brings you the most joy right now?
Oh, my goodness. What brings me the most joy right now? I don't know. Smiles, hugs, connection. Yeah, just blue skies, sunshine, riding on the back of the scooter. When my honeybee comes in and says, "Mom, I need to talk." And, that's kind of what brings me joy right now.
And just as you were saying that, I could hear the birds in the background too. They were responding to
singing to us from heaven.
Yeah. And just to finish up, what's one fun or interesting fact about you, one thing that makes you uniquely you?
Gosh, it's also spelled out on my about page, like all my little, I'm left-handed and I love astrology. I don't know, I really am this optimistic, I'm hoping that I can get some more video content out there, similar maybe to what you're doing. I don't know exactly what it'll look like, but to just continue to be me, to trust that we don't need to look really any further outside of ourselves. We can just trust and sit as as Anita would put it, sit in the magnificence of who we are and be ourselves. So I don't know, that's not really kind of like a unique thing about me, but yeah, my optimism really, really is a gift from God, and it's real. Like, it's real.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is unique. I think the way that you deal with the world is unique and makes you you, for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alana. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for this opportunity to talk a little bit more about me. That, right? To tell your story. So.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. And the people who need to hear it will hear it.
Yeah.
And find you.
Thank you. Thank you for being another vehicle and vessel for that message to get out. I really appreciate it. And love the work that you're doing in the world with other people, too. Supporting them.
Thanks.
Yes.
All right. Well, I love you, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Alana. I'll see you soon.
Yes.